What is going on, guys? Today we are going to go over some of my settings in Tarkov. I know you guys have wanted this video for a long time. I've been wanting to give it to you. We're going to go over just how I unlock my frames, increase my refresh rates, some of the color settings. Obviously that'll be personal preference, but just everything to make your game look and behave and gain maybe a little bit of performance, which is why we're looking at 120 plus frames right now. 130, just running around the hideout. I get asked all the time because my stash, whenever we come out here, over 370 frames in the stash. Yeah, so this will hopefully kind of give you guys a little breakdown, explain like how to do this for yourself. Maybe you'll, gain a little bit of performance, or maybe you'll just find some cool new, settings to try out and you'll hate them and you'll never use them ever again. But to start, we're going to come out, we're going to leave Tarkov. We're going to start with uncapping frames. So uncapping frames is super easy. All you got to do is open your, I'm on Windows 11, it works on Windows 10 obviously too. Open your NVIDIA control panel. Go to your 3D settings. Make sure it's on your global settings. And then right here, you're going to change a couple things actually. Low latency mode, I switched that to ultra. And then the other very important thing is vertical sync right here. Turn vertical sync off. So you're essentially turning vertical sync off on your graphics card. You're going to turn it on later in the game. It's going to like trick it into uncapping your frames. But that's the first thing you're going to do. The second thing I can't really show you, just where I have the two monitors or like my main monitor, my capture card plugged in right now. But what you do to uncap your refresh rate, which is a little bit different. You come in here, obviously for you, it'll probably just have the one, or if you have two monitors, that's fine, obviously too. But you're gonna hit customize, and then you'll create a custom resolution. So this won't be grayed out for you. You'll be able to create a custom resolution. I'll show you mine in game here in a second. You'll create custom resolution. You have to change the pixels by 1. So if you're on a 1080p monitor and it's 1920 by 1080, make it like 1920 by 1079. You know what I mean? Or if you're like me and you're on 1440p, obviously it would be like 1 less, so it'd be 13, or 1439. You know what I mean? So same idea, same concept, but you'll create that. You don't set that as your display though. You don't actually like enable that for your desktop or anything. Like just leave your default recommended, like that's fine. Then when you come back into Tarkov, actually it's gonna error code because I didn't run it as admin. When you come back into Tarkov, this is where things get a little bit spicy. You'll see that option enabled for you. You'll see that resolution separate from all your other resolutions. Like you'll see the default 1080p. You'll see, if you have a 4K monitor, 4K, whatever else. But then you'll see your custom one. The custom one, you'll also be able to depict the refresh rate. You'll be able to set a manual refresh rate tied to that resolution. So then obviously when you set it in your game, it manually overrides it to whatever, refresh rate you set it as. We're going to go into our settings here. So under graphics, like you can see this with mine. Yeah, 1439. So obviously these are all the default, typical ones that you'd see. You have 2560 by 1080. 2560 by 1440 is like the typical one, and then you've got this custom one that I created, 2560 by 1439. That's mine with the custom refresh rate, so that uses all of my 270 hertz. And then I have VSync checked off as well. So VSync is enabled. I don't use NVIDIA low latency because this essentially does that, turning off your VSync and then enabling it in game. Basically creates the same feeling as that. I've tried it with it on. It honestly, it's personal preference, but I like the reason why I prefer the uncapped frames over the NVIDIA low latency reflex is that this reflex will still lock your inventory frames at 60, whereas this unlocks your frames. So let's say you're looting, I don't know if I can even show it in my hideout, but obviously when you're moving things around your hideout's not locked at 60 as well, which is really nice. Like that's honestly one of the nicest things, is being able to move an item around in 200 plus frames and seeing all of those frames because of the refresh rate. If you use NVIDIA low latency reflex, it locks it back down. So coming into the hideout, I don't think it's going to let me. Oh, it is. Yeah. So when I open my inventory, right, everything is still running at 200 plus frames. Like everything is still running at the proper speeds that it should be, instead of it dropping it back down, because Tarkov typically will do that. You see right here, you have your lobby FPS and your game FPS limit. So it'll slam it back down to that 60 if you don't do this. Other than that, graphic settings, super simple, straightforward. My game settings, I can show you as well. FOV, I run max. Malfunction notifications, head bobbing is 0. Graphics, high, low. LOD and overall visibility. TAA, we got some resampling per texture. Reflex is off. Sharpness 0.7. Post effects, so this is where things are a little weird for me right now. Like I'm messing around with some post effect settings as well as using some other settings on NVIDIA, which I'll show you the NVIDIA settings as well. This is honestly probably just for this monitor. I found that it needs a little bit of bump, but it's kind of more of a personal thing. So what I'll do is I'll switch scenes so you can see it, and I'll scroll through my keybinds. And there you go. So that's the bulk of it. The NVIDIA settings, again, you can play around with these yourself on your own monitor. It's really dependent on, you know, what kind of monitor you have. Does it have Adobe color accuracy and all that good stuff? But if we come back into the control panel, you can change, you'll see right here, your desktop color settings. And I found this just makes maps that are maybe a little bit darker. Sorry, I can flip this back. Maps are a little bit darker, easier to see. For example, like Interchange and other maps. If you play on default, which is like down here, you can see it even in my desktop. Everything's quite a bit darker. It's just harder to see. Whereas if you bump this up, I mean, you can keep going, obviously, but I find 1.6 is like a nice little sweet spot. Anywhere around there. I used to play on like 1.8. I've bumped it down to 1.7. I've hovered around, and then like 1.6 is kind of where I've landed. I also bumped my contrast up just a little bit to try to combat the fact that we added a bunch of brightness, right? Because with it reset at 0, everything just feels a little bit too bright, you know what I mean? Whereas adding that contrast just kind of darkens it back down just a hair. But yeah, 1.6 with a 55 is what I'm running right now. And then digital vibrance is just up to you. Right now I'm using post effects to add a little bit of color to the game, so I'm actually not using the digital vibrance. But if you wanted to go no post effects, you can save a couple of frames. You could go digital vibrance at like a 70, let's say, give or take, and that's probably good. If you want it to look like Fortnite, you can run it on 100, and then yeah, you can pretend like you've never left, like you're still running around with a double pump back in season 3. But no, yeah, slamming it back down to 50. I'm using the color in the game. I'm gonna cancel that because we already got our settings set. And that's it. It's that easy. Couple of settings for you guys. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Trying to do this thing on YouTube, you know, trying to maybe not put all of our eggs in one basket. So yeah, it'd be super appreciated if you could drop a little love on this video, and let me know if it made you increase frames, if you drop frames, if you, like, you know, hate it, love it. Let me know. Either way, I love you guys. Take it easy. Thumbs out.